It's a pleasure to have you here. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle, Accra, streaming live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144 around the world at myjoyonline.com on your digital TV, because we are free to air. The details now. More than 30 communities in the Greater Accra and Central regions will experience 12 hours of power outage today. Some will have no power from now to 6 p.m. and others will be without power from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The Electricity Company of Ghana says this is to enable it connect its newly constructed supply point to Grid Coast transmission line. Listen to Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh when he announced the planned outages last month.
Basically with Ghana Grid Company to try and explain to Ghanaians that what is happening is not as a result of a generational problem or fuel shortage, but really some technical difficulties and challenges one or two institutions might be going through. So without much ado, even though GridCo has been consistently coming out with press releases and press statements as to the cause of every power outage, we want them to take the opportunity of not only informing Ghanaians, of also reassuring us that what we are experiencing in a short time will be a thing of the past. Not because of the death that this power outage is concerned. And I would like to conclude by saying that the challenges that are being faced will definitely sometime lead to maybe a power outage here or there. But this, like the technical people just said, it's not because of a generational problem. Yesterday's power outage, we have been explained to us, was caused by a reduced pressure of the gas that is going to the generator. That could not have been foreseen or planned by anybody. And so those, because most of our generators are now relying on gas, and gas comes through only a few pipelines to all these generators, and the effect of a gas shortage affects many more generators than if individual plants were being fueled by diesel or crude oil independently. So these are challenges. We have to continuously build the infrastructure and our systems to be able to have a redundancy in the system to minimize.
That's Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh there giving details of why these planned outages had to happen. But let me take you through the timetable just in case your power is out and you're wondering. So the communities have been categorized into 4 groups. So you have Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. And just on the left bottom timetable, we show you when your area will experience the outage. So you have 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So today, which is the 10th of May, Groups A and B are going to experience the outages. Group A from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you live around Insakina or Duman or Doko Official Town, Aoshi or Dogono, Malam, Abase, Shabu, Top Base, Kokompe, Zamrama Line, Choco, Banana in Kolegono, Begbese, Kwashibu, Abekala Pass, Niboy Town, Alaji Sotum, Ablekuma New Town, Old Barrier, Opekuma, Damsuman Control Market, Ashalaja Lamte Mills, and GBC staff quarters. Your lights are out as we speak, and they should be back on at 6 p.m. Now, while the communities in Group A get their lights turned on at 6 p.m., those in Group B would be experiencing the power outage, and the communities are Lower McCarthy, Malangbawi, Agape Junction, Bubiashi, Demot, Abosokai, Santa Maria, Breku, Tuba, Botiano, Red Top, New Apla, Kumataiko, Dansoman, Snit Flat, Glefe, Nyanyano, Kakraba, and Iron City. So this is on our Facebook page and on myjoyonline.com, so you would realize that this will be on our Facebook page, just in case you're not too sure and you can't keep the timetable in memory. So there you have it. On the 11th of May, we have Group C and Group D. Then we go back to Group B and A on the 12th of May. But look at what happens. There's a swap. So While Group B will experience power outage from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This evening to tomorrow morning. On the 12th of May, they would experience it from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there's just a bit of a relief for you. So power goes off in the night, the next time it goes off in the morning. But for those of you in Group C, you should be preparing today to experience power outage tomorrow. Sakaman, Hansonic, Upper McCarthy Hill, Tetegu, Melcombe Place Industrial Area, Becca Market, Latebiokoshi, Tantra Hill, Nyamiche, Pokwasi ACP Estates, Amasaman, Anya, Nsufa, Antieku, Botiano, Wesley Grammar, Igbe Town, Kwakwajo, Banana Inn, NIC, and Mamprobi New Town. That's for Group C, but it's quite interesting that I see Banana Inn in Group A and Banana Inn in Group C. It's interesting. I don't know if it's the same community or they've divided it into two, because if you happen to fall within a zone in Group A and Group C and you experience the power outages in both groups, it's going to be quite uncomfortable. But Group D, we have Odoko, St. Anthony, German Township, Oblogo, Selaga Market, CMB Flats, Mamprobi, Soko, Taifa, Ofanko, Asofa, Alhaji, Tabora, Chantan, Israel, Fadama, North Kaneshi, Juma, NIC Top Seminary, Sotom Last Stop, Ablekuma Kev, Russia, Sukura, Kokobite, Botiano, Osofo Dazi, and Datus. So that's just by way of information for those of you who live in these communities so that you can prepare ahead of time. But from the Greater Accra and Central regions, let's head to Karachi East. Residents of Okumakura, Nyani and Abungo in that municipality of the OT region are calling on authorities to help end the perennial lack of access to potable water. Though there were a number of boreholes sunk in these communities, they do not contain enough water to sustain the large numbers, while most of them have broken down. Residents queue for long hours just to get a quarter of a pound of water for domestic use. Residents in these communities currently resort to unwholesome sources of water, which are mainly a stagnant pool of water with living organisms, and they also have to share this with herds of cattle in the area. They say the only thing they do to make the water clean is to add alum, that's to purify the water, which is dirty and brown. Peter Seno has more in the following report.
We seriously need water. The borehole we have does not contain much water. Our wives are suffering a lot, so we plead for urgent attention. Water is life. As for water, we are really suffering. We have put this before our MPs most times, but this borehole does not contain water. The other one too has its metals rusted. We need a new borehole. Our women are suffering. Voices of residents in desperate search of potable drinking water. Residents at Okumakura have depended on this source of water for years, especially during the lean season where there are no rainfalls to collect. The Okumakura community has 3 boreholes sunk for them, but the only one currently active is with insufficient water to serve the community. Residents queue longer hours just to get less than a pan full of water. This borehole, which construction started 6 years ago, we are told, has been abandoned. The population is more than the borehole. This abandoned one was started 6 years ago. The first one too has broken down. The first in the community, even sank at a place liable to flooding, is also down with insufficient water to serve the community. It took a great deal of effort to get this half bowl of water, which also stopped flowing after a minute of rigorous pumping. It is avoiding this ordeal that the residents resort to depending on these unwholesome sources of water. When we pump the pipe, it does not flow. It is not helping us. It has not even lather when you wash with it unless you use a detergent. That is why we go down there to fetch.
Yes, sir. You could do along atumo.
This one, we add alum to it, then it settles down for washing. This one, because of the insects, we use our scarves to sieve it and then we drink. This is also heavily laden with tadpoles and other living organisms. After a few scoops, a dead toad was found, allegedly killed and dumped in by herdsmen to discourage the residents from depending on it so the animals could have full access. Our main problem here is water. It is a little better during the rainy season. We struggle with animals all the time and the water is mostly contaminated. I am a herbalist and my clients do not have water to drink whenever they come around. We are just appealing for potable water. Even for school children, daily struggle for potable water is affecting their academic work. The same situation prevails at Abongo and Umwani, just a few kilometers apart. At Umwani, residents queue for water at the only functioning borehole in the community. Just as Okumakura, it contains insufficient water. Those who cannot afford to wait for hours walk about an hour just for this. Equally unwholesome. Residents who are mostly farmers say lack of potable water in the community is affecting their farming activities. The water I would take to the farm is a major problem. I have not taken my bath since I came back from the farm because there is no water. Even our children are at home and there is no water to bath them. We need the government urgently to help us, else we are miserable. Until such time that these and many other rural communities get access to potable water, they continue to depend on the unwholesome ones that would have consequential effect on government budget. Peter Senu for JoyNews.
Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has laid out a 5-point plan to address concerns of the Fix the Country campaigners. It includes the implementation of a $200 million jobs and skills program and the immediate provision of potable water to areas in critical need, especially urban ones. The campaigners, however, say they remain unconvinced after the Finance Minister addressed the news conference Sunday.
This is not a government that is working in reflex. The $200 million programs for economic transformation and jobs and skills started planning this some 2-3 years ago with the World Bank and finally coming to fruition now. So certainly is a government that has always had a clarity on the plan that we have for the nation, and we can see the strength of the economy 2017 to 2020, an ability because of the robustness to be able to handle 2020, and a continuum with the Obatampa program with projects like these which were already pre-thought of to go on. And so I think at this point in time you talk about a Kumfi, but there's some 181 companies well on the road with regards to 1D, 1F that we continue to encourage to support. These are all, I mean, I think we gave some numbers for government compensation, wages, etc. on the public sector, and I think we are stretched to the seams, and really for us as a right-to-center government, it's always been an issue of strengthening the private sector for them to create access to jobs and funds to do that.
Now, part of the directive given by organizers of the Fix the Country campaign was for members to make noise wherever they will be as a way of venting their anger towards the current situation being experienced in the country. Though organizers may have taken the protests off the streets onto online platforms following a court injunction secured by the state, it appears some found a subtle way to demonstrate at the Black Star Square. My colleague Latif Idris, who was there at the time of the planned protest, reports where some motor riders rode through the heavily secured location, tooting their horns in a manner that suggested defiance.
So on the calendar of the organizers of the Fix the Country movement, today, Sunday, 9th May 2021, is supposed to be Black Sunday, a day they have taken, I'm sure, in their diaries to hit the streets to demonstrate to the administration about what they describe as the harsh economic realities. But here at the Independence Square, we cannot find a single protester. It is past midday and there is not a single protester here at the Independence Square. We understand that the organizers and the prospective protesters have now taken their protest online, where they are venting their anger at the administration. Here at the Independence Square, the police administration, and in fact that is the Greater Accra Police Command, is heavily represented here at the Black Star Square. I can count not less than 15 police vehicles, including 7 crowd or riot control vehicles. And as for the number of police personnel on the ground, I cannot put a number to it. Why? Because they keep moving on the ground, they keep moving in their pickup trucks, combing the area to ensure that no protester walks in here to do what the court has banned them from doing. But if you look around, you have the ordinary individuals walking about. Some are wearing black. You remember the directive given by the organizers of the movement is that people should wear black and come out in their numbers and demonstrate. That was before the injunction was placed on. You will find people wearing black, sitting under the close to the Nationalism Park. They are wearing their blacks. They are seated under the trees in the lovers' bench, having their own time, whiling away time. And if you come to the Independence Square proper, you would find also individuals walking about, going about their own duties, and the police is not stopping anybody, asking any questions. The place is calm.
So this was when Latif Idris visited that spot on Sunday. Now, the Northeast Regional Minister, Yidana Zakari, has warned against the illegal construction of speed ramps on the town roads in Walewale, Nalerugu, and Gambaga, which are currently being upgraded with an asphalt overlay. The minister said any person or group of persons who will be caught putting up speed ramps on the upgraded roads without the authorization of the Urban Roads Department will be arrested and prosecuted. Mr. Zachary issued the caution in Gambaga when he paid a working visit to introduce the contractors of the project to the chiefs and people of the town. Ilyasu Tanko reports.
The minister made a comment when he, together with the municipal chief executive for the area, took the contractors to the palace of the chief of Gambaga and the imam to announce their presence in the town. The chief imam offered prayers for the minister and the contractors and pledged his utmost support for the successful execution of the project. At the chief palace, the Panalana addressed the minister's delegation on behalf of the Gambarana.
I stand on behalf of them as a panorama to actually express our greatest thanks and appreciation for the NPP government for the developmental projects we are seeing today. Of course, it was a mirage those days that Gambaga will never get tar roads. Now it's on ADFAN. And we assure you that whatever challenges you might be facing within the process, you do inform us and we'll collaborate with you for the success of the project. The people, elders of Gambaga, have agreed And I think that the speed ramps will be clear to pave way for the actual work to be done on the speed ramps.
From there, the regional minister moved to the project site and interacted with the contractors who had already commenced work. And from there, he addressed the media.
The onus lies on us to make sure that we preserve this national treasure. We have never experienced this before. This is the first time. So the least we can do is to make sure that together we protect the roads. And I'm trying to say this, and I want people to listen. Soon after the construction, if there's a need for speed ramps, please, we will make formal requests for standard speed ramps to be constructed. We are not going to allow a situation where individuals will take the law into their own hands and do their own speed ramps. When you do, you fall foul of the law, and the law is no respecter of persons. You will be taken on and you'll be punished severely for this. We, on our part, as representatives of the government, we will do everything possible to make our roads safe.
The upgrading of the township roads to an asphalt overlay in the region, a project of the ruling government, started earlier this year in Walewale to Nalirgu and now in Gambaga. The minister also took the opportunity to reject claims that the project was being undertaken by the opposition NDC through the Member of Parliament.
Let me also state that there's some misinformation making rounds. The government in power is fully in charge of the construction of these roads. So the claim by the opposition that it is the opposition that is doing this work, it's only an insult to the intelligence of the people. In any case, when they were in power, did they do this? No. Why do you want to take the credit? The credit should go to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and our own brother, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, for this intervention. So nobody in the opposition should take credit. We want to move along with everybody. But for us to do this, and you want to take the shine and credit away from us, this is something that I think is mischief, and we should stop it.
On his part, the municipal chief executive, Abdul Nasir Dalladi, called for a collaboration and appeal to the people against the erection of illegal speed ramps on the road.
For me and my people, I think that, let me say, we are much appreciative to the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, our brother, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, and all government officials who have made it possible for us to receive this very wonderful project today.
Ilyasu Tanko with that report. You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Still to come, Member of Parliament for Klote-Kolli, Zaneto Rawlings, has begun horse riding project at Osu as part of measures to revive the once bustling Osu Oxford Street. Thank you for staying here on News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Now, Member of Parliament for Klote-Kolli, Zaneto Rawlings, has begun a horse riding project at Osu as part of measures to revive the once bustling Osu Oxford Street. According to the MP, there's been a huge decline in business on the Oxford Street in recent times. This she attributes to lack of traction for tourists and other Ghanaians who used to visit the place on a regular basis for entertainment and other business activities. She believes the horse riding project on the street would rekindle interest and also show up revenue for businesses there. There's more in this report.
Horse riding was once a common side attraction at the Osu Oxford Street. It served as a source of entertainment for many within and around the community. Osu was touted as one of the nation's tourist hub, but today the situation is different. In spite of the many popular bars, nightclubs, restaurants, malls and artisans, businesses are not generating much revenue as before. The NP for the area, Senator Ajiman Rollins, together with business owners on the Oxford Street, have designed the horse riding project to revive interest and attract tourists to the area and also make Osu work again. The horses, which would be provided and guided by the police in the area, will also serve as a form of security since there's been concerns of petty thievery in the area lately. The NP is confident horse riding, coupled with the presence of the security officers, will restore the lost glory of Osu Oxford Street.
It's really just about trying to bring the spotlight back onto Oxford Street. You know, once upon a time, you know, when a lot of us were younger, this was the place where everything was happening. As we stand here, you can see there's a lot of traffic here, but it's only people who are commuting. You don't have enough tourists coming to Oxford Street anymore. You don't have people trooping over here to try the food or to, you know, visit the bars and so on. So there's been a downward trend in terms of people visiting Oxford Street for entertainment and for food and all of that. And that was an attempt to bring traffic back this way. It was also a means of bringing attention to the fact that the police force have a mounted squadron in this constituency, in Osu, which, you know, potentially could be a source of generating IGF for the police, and also a win-win situation where they could be patrolling Oxford Street, which would bring tourists here because people would want to probably stand next to the police with the horses. It would also be a form of ensuring that there's security here, because one of the complaints that the people, the artisans have made who sell around the street, is that sometimes people's bags are snatched, phones are snatched, and so there's a feeling that people don't have the absolute security that they would prefer on a street as busy as this. So it was a way of bringing attention back to Oxford Street.
The NP tells JoyNews there are plans for carriage rides, among other things, to develop the tourism potential of Osu. However, the gutters are choked, smelling, and running over onto the street at certain places. Thus, the MP believes may have contributed to the low patronage of businesses in the area. She charged officials of the assembly to fix the problem.
I think the assembly knows exactly what they're meant to do. I mean, if you look over here, the slabs that are supposed to cover the drains, that falls under the mandate of the assembly. The desilting of the drains, that falls under the assembly or the municipality, as it were. Lighting on the streets, that falls under the municipality. A lot of these things that we end up kind of putting into a gray area are actually strictly under the mandate of the assembly or the municipality, as it were, for Koliklote. And really, I think that in order to ensure that the municipal assembly is fulfilling its mandate, it really needs to look more closely at how to make these things happen. You know, people are paying levies and different forms of taxes to have what they have along the street, and they should see the benefit in making these payments, knowing very well that as they're making these payments, it's because the slabs are going to be fixed and the gutters are going to be desilted on a regular basis, because indeed sometimes the trash is not even from here, it's trash that's come from elsewhere. People can only do so much, but if the assembly is there and part of its mandate is to ensure that a lot of these things are done and it's featuring in the budget of the assembly, they must do their bit. That is what they do in order to ensure that businesses that are here, that are doing their best, that are investing, can actually reap the benefits, and that's what we're hoping for.
Bless King, who speaks for the Osu Oxford Street Business Association, agrees the assembly must work to make Oxford Street more comfortable for tourists.
We need to fix the little things that make the Oxford Street uncomfortable for some of the tourists. Okay, so we definitely saw the mounted squadron who helped out with the horses on the holiday. If you see friendly police like that on Oxford Street with horses, that in itself is attractive enough for you to be more comfortable, to spend more time and to make more purchases. If you have a comfortable restroom, if you have cafes like this, bars here that are very comfortable and world-class, that encourages our foreigners and visitors to, relate to this place, be comfortable, and also spend a lot more time here. That would improve all of the businesses on the stretch.
Away from that, it's supposed to be a nerve-relaxing activity for contestants who represent their schools in the National Science and Maths Quiz. But what's meant to be an off-the-cuff engagement between the quiz mistress and the contestants on stage could easily become another round of competition that causes upsets, at least for some schools. From Bolgatanga, my colleague Manuel Cranton reports on how contestants in the regional qualifiers of the 2021 NSMQ reacted to tell us something about your school.
I'm happy to meet the contestants, and I'm sure you'd also be happy to meet them. So let's meet our contestants. So we'd like to know about your school. Tell us something about your school.
Well, this is a pretty simple request. We should ordinarily elicit a simple response, like these ones.
Bolgatanga Girls Senior High School is one of the prominent senior high schools in Upper East Region, Bolgatanga, and it is located at the Bolgatanga municipality, precisely Zanre. It was basically a community boarding school, and it was now transformed into a women college. And then in 1973, it was now turned into senior high school. And our motto is unity, equality, and then patriotism.
Bolgatanga Senior High School was established in the year 1970 and is located at the Talensi district, specifically in KWAWU, Upper East Region. And we go by the motto, to the glory of God and honor of Ghana, and we are the pride of the East.
Wonderful.
But as the first week of competition in the regional qualifiers of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz will reveal, tell us about your school could be a really confusing request sometimes. Like this time when Sandima SHTS was meeting Zoko SHS from Bisi SHS and Boku SHS.
Senior is a school that don't give up easily. It is a school that don't give up easily.
You don't give up easily?
Yeah.
So where is your school? Is it a mess school? Those are the things you'd want to know.
Please come again.
Where is your school? Where can I find your school?
It's in Zoko.
Oh, there were more.
So Abraham and Elisha, kindly tell me about Zwarungu's Senior High School. Anything about your school that you'd want me to know.
Zwarungu Secondary School is one of the senior high schools which is found in the Bolga East region.
It's a school which is situated in the Bulsa North district of Sandema.
You can leave the mic. Just leave the mic, yes, and talk.
And it is a mixed school. Our motto is integrity, integrity, patriotism, and knowledge.
But what's the big deal? Probably a question on the minds of contestants from Sirigu SHS when they had to respond on stage. So they went for it, or at least attempted to.
Sirigu Senior High School is a mixed school, and also it's an integrated school. It was established in 2000, the year 2000.
Wonderful. You said it's an integrated school. What does it mean for it to be an integrated school?
Madam, integrated.
What is different about your school from the others?
Okay, my school, we have visually impaired there. Those who cannot see, they're also there with us in class with we, those who can see.
Oh, okay, so you have challenged people and all. That's wonderful. That's what makes you integrated.
But the contestants from Paga just couldn't be boarded.
Paga Senior High School is a school in Paga.
Somehow, in the Upper East regional qualifiers, the fewer words the contestants had to say about your school, the fewer points they got at the end of the contest. Well, this is not a result of a scientific study or anything like that. What does it matter anyways? If you don't agree, start by telling us about your school. Manuel Cranton, JoyNews, Bolgatanga.
My school is Infantiman Girls Secondary School. We are located at Salt Pond in the Central Region. And our motto is Obra Nyawarabo. Life is how you make it. Let's move on now. COVID-19 has had a major impact on educational institutions at all levels in the system. But how exactly has this impacted teaching and learning experience? And what do pupils, parents, and teachers think? What is the way forward? Benjamin Akako has been interacting with authorities as well as some parents and pupils of the Youngsters International School in Kokomleme. This is what they have to share.
We just ended our first term and we have come. And going through their report cards and stuff like that, you will see that it has really worried us because most learners have lost it. We're trying as much as possible to bring them up, and it hasn't been easy at all. So, seriously speaking, it is a big challenge. Academically, it has taken the children aback, and you have to move in at a certain speed. And when you move in at that speed too, the child cannot move that speed because you look at what the child lost, because second term they didn't even complete. The whole of third term for a particular class was not completed. And so now the child has been promoted, mass promotion. They have to finish that of the second term, which they didn't finish, and the third term. And then they are in a new class. It is a problem. When we started online, most of the children were joining us. A class of about 40, you have only about 3 people. And when you ask the parents, they will tell you that, look, they don't have the money to buy the gadgets. Even when they buy the gadgets, how to even buy data was a bit of a problem. So we did a little bit of the online thing, and then we switched to hard copy where we printed questions, parents come, pick it up for their children. And we managed to actually make some gains in that field too.
You know, the kids had, I could say clearly, they have some learning loss to COVID. Staying home for 1 year is really a loss to learning. The brain said that if it relaxes for a long time without reading or without knowledge acquisition, what you have actually accumulated, you are bound to forget if you don't do repetition in over reading what you have learned before. Because we know that repetition creates deep and lasting impression on the mind. So if what you have learned is not repeated, you are likely to forget them. So it really impacted negatively on their academic performance.
Elsie, which class are you in?
I'm in class 4.
Class 4, great. You've been back in school and you've had to wear a mask because of COVID and all of that. How has COVID-19 changed your life in school?
It has made playing hard, and if your teacher is saying something, you hardly hear it. So it makes us feel in essence. And when we are working, we have to work in twos and separates.
So it's made it difficult learning because sometimes you can't even hear the teacher well, and it affects your grades and exams.
Yes.
How about your relations with your friends? How has COVID impacted that? Are you still able to play like before?
No, we are not even supposed to hold hands and hug each other like first. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel very sad and bad.
The challenge is that, the stress has increased in the sense that you always have to harmonize working from home and taking care of children. Initially when school were on full-fledged, so you could make time while the children are in school, you could make time for yourself. But now, even children are back in school, but the challenges still continue. And then the reason is that you have to always come to pick them because of to try to avoid try to instill social distancing. Because once they close from school, you see them mingling with friends, with other strangers as well, which does not augur well for COVID prevention. So in that instance, so you see that you always have to find additional time, to harmonize with your work from your office and then taking care of the kids as well.
At some point, finally, I know online studies came up and all of that. How was that for you? How was that experience?
Well, financial as well, you have to buy, personally, I have to buy a laptop. I have to buy 1 laptop and 2 notepads for my kids. Okay, so you could see the financial implications. And that's aside, once you are in class online, so once the class goes off, the children hasn't gotten that technical knowledge. So you have to run quickly from whatever you are doing. Even if you have a meeting online, you have to run quickly to come and then reschedule the child for another lessons.
You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulamsa. DARYL KWAWU standing by with the latest in the world of business. You give you details on deliberations on a new national daily minimum wage, which is expected to commence in the coming days. Do stay for details.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is DARYL KWAWU. Deliberations on the new National Daily Minimum Wage report could commence in the coming days. This is because a technical group of the National Tripartite Committee is expected to present its report after weeks of engagements. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta disclosed this when he addressed the media Sunday.
It's very difficult to talk about the tripartite negotiations when we're in the middle of negotiations. But as we mentioned, we've gone through a good period of a good relationship with them. So the technical committees are now, meeting and they'll be presenting their report this week, and so we will know how to move forward. I mean, we, for the first time in our history, have a social partnership with labor and employers that has never happened before, that we meet quarterly, make sure that we understand their needs, we put them in the budget, and then also understanding that the faith-based organizations are in more places than even the government can be.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has assured that the cedi will remain fairly stable despite recent pressures. The Ghanaian currency witnessed some fluctuations over the past few weeks, pushing it to 5 cedis, 78 pesos to the dollar. This has raised concerns. The cedi is entering a period of depreciation, usually associated with the first quarter. But Director of Research at the Central Bank, Philip Abradu-Otu, says there is no cause for alarm.
The thing about the exchange rate is that so many factors affect the exchange rate. And I think for us, Ghana, we have also evolved in this area. And lately, we have investor sentiments as one of the factors that explains the movement in our exchange rate. So the way investors behave, the way they react to economic news, the way the decisions they make regarding the resources that they have here can all impact the exchange rate. I haven't checked the numbers lately, but if you say it's moved from 5.4 to 5.7, yes. The question for us at the central bank is
5.73 to 5.77.
5.73 to 5.77. Well, the question is, are these within our tolerable limits? Has the exchange rate gone way out that
trend changing, the stability that we've seen just at the end of the Q3?
I mean, George, from 5.73 to 5.77 is still within tolerable limits.
You don't think that we are getting back to the Q1 pressure? The trend is now going to see a sustained depreciation?
No, George, the statistics before me, if I look at the first quarter, I've seen that the exchange rate has appreciated by some 0.55% is what I see. Some market reforms have been put in place, especially the forward market. The forward market is changing the dynamics in the foreign exchange market. And as we speak, the pipeline demand that we see here at BOG has almost fizzled out. And the forward is serving to provide some confidence and assurance to the market that forex availability is guaranteed, and that notional demand on the spot market is almost absent at this stage, and it is helping sustain. Fast forward, I think when the Eurobond resources come in, I think we are going to see a much stronger level of appreciation this year.
And that's all in business for now, but there's more on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can read more about Ken Ofori-Attah's engagement with the press. As you can see, the debt increase of 137% between 2016 and 2020, lower than previous administrations, according to him. There's more coming up, including sports. Don't go anywhere.